Okay, we're live. Hey, welcome anybody that's tuning in from anywhere in the world. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It is December 30th in my part of the world, which is Chiang Mai, Thailand, 6:30 in the morning here. And I'm coming to you today to give you a weekly live. This one I'm pretty excited about because I'm going to be using the whiteboard feature here for the first time, and which may not be the best of ideas because we're live. So I could screw this up, and that's okay. So before we get too far into this meeting, let's just ground ourselves in this meeting. If you'd like to join me in a short grounding practice, so just sitting as comfortably as possible. And if you're in a safe place, you're not driving or operating heavy machinery, perhaps you would like to first begin by looking around. I like to look left, and then I look right, and then I look left again, and then I look right. And one more time, I look to the left, and then I look over to the right. And then I like to turn almost all the way around if I can. And I look behind me to the left, and I look behind me to the right. And then I take a big deep breath in through the nose. And as I let it out, I close my eyes. And if it doesn't feel safe to close your eyes today, that's okay. Perhaps you can just shift your gaze downwards and take a soft focus on a spot in the room. And as I sit here, I bring my attention into the body. And I bring my attention to where my body makes contact with the cushion, the chair. I bring attention to where the body makes contact with the floor. Perhaps the feet are on the floor. And recognize the sensation of my feet where they make contact with the floor. And perhaps I bring focus to the hands. Maybe the hands are on the knees, in the lap, by the sides, palm up, palm down. That's your choice. But I just bring attention to the hands and the sensations within the hands, and the sensations wherever the hands may touch, knees, the lap, the sides. And then I bring sensations in the body. I bring focus to the sensations that are in the body. Perhaps there's tension and tightness. Perhaps there's looseness and a freedom about us today. There can be anything. There can be anything across the spectrum of sensation, and it all belongs. We don't have to change or fix anything. I'm just taking on the role of the observer now. Just nowhere to be, just nothing to get. There's no one to be. We're just resting now in this present moment awareness, aware of the sensations. And perhaps now we can begin to deepen our breath. Breathing in through the nose, holding on top, and then letting it out the mouth. And a long, slow, steady exhale. Breathing in through the nose, all the way down into the belly, feeling that expansion. Holding briefly on top, and then letting it out the mouth through pursed lips in a long, slow, steady exhale, ensuring the exhale is always a little bit longer than that inhale. And again, in through the nose, holding on top, and then letting it go. Let go. Let go of anything that happened before this meeting. And in through the nose, and now let go. Let go. Let go of anything you think may happen after this meeting. And last one, biggest breath you took all day in. Hold on top and then let go. Let go. Let go of the meeting itself. Let go of any expectations you have of this meeting. Now allow your breathing to return to normal in through the nose and out of the nose. And again, bring your focus back to the body. And just recognize any sensations that are present in the body. Perhaps asking yourself, has anything shifted? Has anything changed? Is anything softened? Has anything tightened? There's no wrong or right answers here. We're just observing. And now you can might invite any gentle movement into your body that feels welcoming, perhaps moving the fingers a little bit, moving the toes, maybe begin to move the arms, move the legs, get those wiggles out, letting go of some of that self-consciousness and just get it out. I like to always put my arms up overhead with a big stretch. Oh, it's good. And then I bring my arms down by my side and I open my heart to the world. And if you close your eyes, you can flutter them open or you can just bring your gaze upwards. Awesome. So, hey, it's December 30th. Tomorrow for me is New Year's Eve and then New Year's Day 2026. So it's a time of year when many people perhaps make resolutions, maybe they set intentions, perhaps they begin to look at their habits, perhaps they begin to think of what they want to accomplish, they want to change. So that's part of what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about change. And I'm going to give you an actionable strategy before you leave here that you can implement right now, today, whether that's this morning, in the afternoon, or evening, whatever time zone you find yourself in. This thing works no matter where you are in the world. So, what is a habit? Well, oftentimes we associate habits with something that's perhaps detrimental, like, oh, I have a smoking habit, or I have a overeating habit, or I have a alcohol habit, or I have a smartphone habit that's destroying me. But there's also the other side, right? There's the habits that are helpful, and there's the habits that really improve our lives. And that's what I want to focus on today. More than dismantling the unhelpful habits, I'd like to talk more about how do we develop healthy habits. And perhaps next live, we'll talk about how do we dismantle the unhelpful habits. So we'll make January all about habits. So a habit, the definition, it's a settled or regular tendency or practice. That's out of the Webster's dictionary. And then the example they give is about a hard habit. So it says especially one that is, or I should say, it feels like the example they give is about an unhealthy habit. So it says especially one that is hard to give up. Well, maybe we can make our healthy habit hard to give up too. Wouldn't that be something? So here's the part that I'm really excited about. I'm going to share this whiteboard and I'm going to try to draw on it as we are talking. Let's see what happens here. All right, there is the whiteboard. Oh, and it's loading. All right, so I already did a little bit of pre-work here where I at least did a little bit of drawing. I'm just gonna check real quick if I can. I want to check see if I'm still good on live over here on Facebook. Sorry. You're waiting. Sorry. All right. I want to see if it's up there. Okay, we can see it. All right, but it doesn't look great. But so let me see. I'm gonna do this and hopefully it looks a lot better. All right, that should look good on Facebook. Thank you for working with me with that. So what you're looking at here, this is called the fog model. And it is called the fog model because it is was created by BJ Fogg. And BJ Fogg is um, PhD doctor here at Stanford University. And he works at Stanford in the behavioral science lab, head of it. And he's written a book called Tiny Habits. So this is the fog model created by BJ Fogg. All right. I want to give credit where credit is due. I didn't create this. All right. This is the BJ Fogg model. And the BJ Fogg model is all about behavior. And the BJ Fogg model says that behavior will happen when motivation meets, let's do this, motivation meets ability. So over here on this axis, on the vertical axis, I'm going to say this is where motivation is. And let me see if I can turn this. Oh my goodness, I am on fire here. So this is where motivation is. Pull this down here. That's motivation. Down here on the horizontal axis, that is going to be ability. And now up here, this is going to be high motivation. I'm going to put that off to the side. And then down here, the bottom, it's going to be low motivation. And then same with ability. With ability, this is going to be things that are hard to do. I'm sorry. I had that backwards for a second. These are going to be things that are easy to do. And then over here, it's going to be things that are hard to do. All right, everybody's tracking. So behaviors happen when motivation meets ability. But there's one missing ingredient. Behaviors happen when motivation meets ability that is triggered by a prompt or a trigger, if you want to call it a trigger. So this would be the B map or the B mat. And since I put those asterisks on both sides of this, it doesn't really matter. So this is called the B map. Behaviors happen when motivation, ability meet, and then we have a prompt there, a trigger for the behavior. So looking at this, there's a missing ingredient, right? We need a line here. No, not a highlighter, I need a line. So this is going to be the tricky part, if I can do this properly. This is called, it's about as good as it's going to get. This here is called the action line. And when prompts happen, if the motivation needs to be super high for it and it's hard to do, anything that happens in here, this is when the prompts fail. And anything that happens out here, this is when the prompts work. So what does all this mean in practical terms here? So if you have, I'm just going to make a circle for this. So if I have something that I'm super motivated to do, right? Like many people are very motivated to work out this time of year. Like this is something that they're super motivated to do because it's a New Year's resolution. They're tired of being out of shape, so they have a lot of motivation. But if it's also like a lot of motivation and then it's really, really hard to do, so they say, "Hey, I'm super motivated to work out, and I decided that tomorrow I'm going to run a marathon." Right? And they have that super high motivation and it's really hard to do. So it might work. They might fall over into this category. It might actually work. But more than likely, since it's really hard to do and their motivation is, yeah, it's high, but it's not super high, then it probably will fall here where the prompt, whatever the prompt is, the trigger they're using is going to fail and the behavior is not going to happen. So if their motivation is really low and it's hard to do, then obviously the prompt fails and the behavior doesn't happen. So what if your motivation is quite mediocre, medium motivation, right? But we make it much easier to do. Now the prompt works. So that's where the tiny habit formula comes in. Your motivation is not super high, perhaps it's low. We just make things easier to do. And now behavior happens. And then as the behaviors happen, it's easier and easier to scale up. So that's where the tiny habit formula comes from. So with the tiny habit formula is this. First thing we do is we use an existing prompt. So an existing prompt is something that's already well established. And this is kind of like habit stacking, right? So for me, let me just give an example. My tiny habit is after I brush my teeth, I do 25 squats. I do 15 of these ab roller exercises, and then I do 15 push-ups. And then that may sound like, well, that's hard to do, and I'm not all that motivated. I'm a little motivated. Well, it didn't start out like that. So it started out with after I brush my teeth, I'm going to do 3 air squats. And now, over the course of this 6 months I've been doing it, I've scaled up and I've scaled up and I've scaled up. And we may continue to scale up or we might just stay where we're at because it's okay. Um, and I mean, has it made a difference? Yeah. It's made a difference. Just that little bit, that consistency. It's definitely made a difference. And even if it's not a difference in my physical, so much my physical health, like I'm not all that much stronger or and like all that much greater shape from doing this. What it's really done for my mental health and my self-esteem is that it showed me that I can do things. Like I can implement and put new habits into my life today, which is really nice because I don't know if you can see, but I'm not the youngest man, so I feel as though you definitely can teach an old dog new tricks, as they would say. All right, so back to that. The prompt, right? So here is, we're going to use this existing prompt. So you're going to use whatever you're already doing. So after I answer or after I shut the door of my house every time I come in, I will do 3 squats, whatever it might be. But there's 1,000 different ways to state this, but make sure that you're going to use something that you're doing every day already. Um, and it's also like, maybe it's something like after I start the car, I'm going to take 3 deep breaths, right? Whatever it might be. So after I is the prompt and then the action. So after I blank, I will, whatever the action is. And then this is key. This is a real key to it is now you have to celebrate in some way. And why do we celebrate? We celebrate because what feels good gets repeated. So it's important for us to bring in some positive emotions into these things, right? So for me, after I brush my teeth, I will do 25 air squats, 15 of these ab roller things, and then 15 push-ups. And then I celebrate by I have a board right here. I mark it on my board. I mark that I did it. And then that feels good. I feel like I'm the type of person that is saying they're going to do something and I'm doing it. So I feel like I have like integrity, right? So however you celebrate, maybe you fist pump in the air, yes, or you go whatever it might be. So there's many different ways to celebrate, but find a way to celebrate because here's the thing too that the thing about habits they become habits because they go from something that maybe you do every now and again to a habit because of emotion. It's emotion that makes things something you do every now and again to a habit. And it's either it's creating a positive emotion or perhaps it's extinguishing a challenging emotion. But that's how things become habits. They're doing something for you. And now the unhealthy ones is like, I like what it's doing for me, but I can't take what it's doing to me type of scenario. So that's something we'll address next week. But this is it. This is the behavior map. This is the fog model. Hopefully this makes a lot of sense to you. Um, so just like how to apply this in life? Well, if you're finding yourself that like don't beat yourself up. I would say this and be like, oh, I'm just not motivated and I don't have the willpower and screw all that. Motivation and willpower, we're not relying on that. What we need is a system. The system, it doesn't matter. You could be like, oh, like, don't shame yourself. Remember what I said just a little while ago here is like, if it doesn't feel good, then it's not going to get repeated. So if every time you go to work out and you don't work out, then you beat yourself up about it, then you're really not going to work out. Like guilt and shame are not something that are going to help change you in a positive manner. So don't rely on willpower. Don't rely on motivation. Certainly don't rely on shaming. Um, and have a system. So the system is the tiny habit. After I blank, I will blank, and then I'll celebrate. Okay? Cool. And if you find yourself like, hey, I haven't done the behavior, then you need to really break it down. You need to make it as simple and as easy to do as possible. That way, we're not relying on high motivation. We can be kind of motivated, but it's really easy to do, so it happens. Make sense? Cool. How do I close this thing? Yeah, stop share. There you go. All right, we're back. So hopefully that wasn't too terrible. Probably could have practiced that a little more. That was exciting. I never presented a whiteboard in a Zoom live before. I've done it with clients, and it's well, it's just about as good as you saw it there. Need a lot of practice, and that's okay. So maybe I'll make that my tiny habit. After I turn the office light on, I will practice on the whiteboard for 5 minutes, and then I'll celebrate. Cool. All right. So Happy New Year, everybody. We can make 2026. It's going to be a fantastic year, and I'm really excited for it. There's lots of cool things happening for cognitive fitness coach here in Chiang Mai, Thailand. Um, the biggest thing that has happened in our lives recently is that the business is now formed in Chiang Mai, Thailand. So we are a Thai-based business. So we were founded in America, and now we are operating globally online with clients from all over the world, as well as working with teams around the world, corporate teams. And now we are working here in Chiang Mai, Thailand, face to face. We have our first in-person event happening this Saturday, which is called Mindful Trail. I can post that in the comment section of this live video once it wraps up. If you're interested, if you're in Chiang Mai and you want to get some breath work, meditation, and a nice little walk in the woods, there'll be information for that. And then, yeah, we're all going to meet up. We're going to have a nice little session. We're going to have a nice little walk. And then afterwards, we're all going to sit around and drink coffee that is made right here in northern Thailand and or tea or whatever, water, whatever your thing is. You don't have to drink coffee. But anyway, we're gonna have some drinks and we're gonna have some fellowship and hopefully it's gonna be a really good time. And it's 100% free as well. Yeah, there's no charge for that. So these are free community events. Awesome. So that's one of the big announcements. And our big thing is Skool. I'm on Skool, which is Skool under the cognitive fitness community. And again, that is also free, 100% free. And I'm posting resources there. We have three bits of curriculum in there. We have a baseline practice, we have nervous system regulation, and train your mind is in there, which is a semi-advanced meditation practice of 6 sessions. And I'm in the process of making a very, very, very beginner-friendly meditation course, which will take people from week one, day one, never meditated in their lives, to having a basic practice. So cool. I think we're running over time, and that's okay. Again, my name is Chris Norris, Cognitive Fitness Coach. Peace and be well.